Hey guys, this is Matt NES. So I've been giving it some thought about what other subjects I could be doing on this channel, and today I thought, fuck it, let's destroy my channel! How about we talk about unpopular gaming opinions that I have? Let's check it out. So before we get started with anything in this video, just keep in mind that this is all just for fun, and these are all obviously just my opinions, and you guys can go ahead and disagree with anything that I'm about to bring up in this video. It's just for fun, so with all that out of the way, let's get into it. So the first thing I wanted to bring up is this game right here. I've been noticing a little bit online that people have been really crapping on the original Metroid a lot, and I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. People do bring up a couple good points with this game, a few that I do agree with and some that I don't necessarily agree with. The things that I do agree with is farming for items in this game, because when you do die, you start off with 30 energy. You don't even start off with a full energy tank. That is a little lame, and there aren't anything like recharge stations like there are in Super Metroid. And I can understand that. Farming for energy and missiles is kind of lame. But then there's a couple criticisms that I don't really agree with, like this game is unplayable because there isn't an in-game map, and I don't know. I don't really agree with that. I've been able to beat this game when I was 8, no Nintendo power, no guides, no cheats, and that's not me saying like, oh my god guys, I'm such a good gamer, blur blur blur. No, that's just me saying that, you know, I just don't feel like, you know, not having a map makes this game bad and unplayable. I don't know if it's because I can find distinctions in other pathways and stuff like that, and I can get a good mental view of the map in my head, but I've never really needed an outsourced map or a guide to really beat this game. Unlike something like the original Legend of Zelda, which people still to this day kind of praise over this game. And I don't know, man. I feel like that this game deserves a little bit more respect than it has been getting. Like, this game really did start off the entire Metroidvania genre to start with. You know, like, the concept of a 2D side-scroller that's completely free-roaming and exploration-based. Like, there hasn't been a game really like this before this hand, so I don't know. I think that this game still holds up. It's still fun to play, and I don't think it deserves to be crapped on as much as it has been getting online. Now, I know I'm probably going to be called a Metroid apologist when I bring this up, but this is another game that I feel like, you know, people crap on just a touch too much. I will say that yes, the story in Metroid Other M is terrible. It's not good. Like, the line delivery by Samus is not good. The story of Mother Brain being just some random girl is not good. Like, I will say that this story, crap. I will agree 100%. But then people start getting into a whole thing saying that the gameplay of this game is also just as bad as the story. And that's where I start to disagree. I actually had a lot of fun playing this game, and I will say that this game is a departure from Metroid where it comes to, you know, exploration. There is some exploration, especially during the post-game stuff, but, you know, this game was obviously supposed to be kind of an offshoot of Metroid. You know, it's definitely supposed to be more of an action version of Metroid, and being a spin-off, I think this is actually a pretty good interpretation of, like, Metroid, but in the context of an action game. It's relatively short, it's relatively easy, but I don't know, when it comes to just the gameplay aspects of this game, I think that this game is not total trash. I think it's actually pretty fun. And honestly, if they wanted to take this general controlling scheme and, you know, make an entire world where you can explore it and everything like that, I think that I would like to see an expanded version of this version of Metroid, but maybe don't have the story be complete and utter crap? I don't know. I don't think we're ever going to see a game like this ever again, but, you know, we'll see. So another thing that I've been seeing online is criticisms over this controller right here, the Nintendo 64 controller. People are saying that it's got a terrible design and people don't know how to use it and you need to have 3 hands to properly use it. And I'm like, huh? How do you figure you need 3 hands to use this? I always thought it was pretty intuitive to use when I was first starting out playing it. If you're playing 3D titles, you grip the center part, using the analog stick and using the Z button below kind of as a replacement for your L button. And if you're using 2D games, you grip this one to use the D-pad and you use the L button for your L button. You're never forced to use the controller like this, or if you're doing a 2D game like this and suddenly you have to interact with the analog stick like this or something like that. You're never having to do something like that, for example. So I've just never understood the criticisms behind this controller that much. Now, sure, if people are talking about the fact that this controller hasn't aged super well because now we have dual analog sticks and we have more shoulder buttons and stuff like that, maybe I can kind of see that, but you're never having to control a game where you would necessarily need dual analog. The games were always programmed around the limitations of what this controller can do. So I've just never understood why people are saying that this controller is bad and uncomfortable, and the 3-handed one is the one that gets me. Like, I've never understood why people say you need 3 hands to use this controller. So that's just me. I don't know. But if we are talking about something that I feel like is overrated, including to this day, is this controller right here. I don't see what's so great about this controller at all. I actually kind of don't really like this controller. Outside of this analog, the analog stick's actually pretty good, especially for its time, especially since it has like kind of an octagonal gate, so you can kind of tell like what direction that you're putting in. Like, for Smash, I guess that's, I can kind of understand that a little bit for when you're playing Smash. But like the rest of it, like the way that these buttons are set up, like I've never liked this. Like, I've even tried playing SNES games with this controller, and it's literally unplayable. It's terrible. It's so bad. This analog stick down here is so tiny, and forget about this D-pad, man. It's so pointy, small, and just in such the wrong place. Like, I just don't see why people want to keep this controller alive for so long. Like, Smash players, like, I don't understand it. Like, I use a Pro Controller for Smash, and it's great. Like, I can still use this controller in Smash just fine, but for literally anything else, like, I don't like it. Like, it's got nice big old grips on it, I guess. It feels kind of comfortable. I don't really care for these triggers. It's always like an event every time you want to, like, click this thing down. Like, it's like you have to slam it almost to, like, get it completely down, but it's... I don't know. I don't really see the appeal of this controller. I don't get it. Maybe you guys can tell me in the comments. I don't know. I don't see it. So next up is a 3D Mario game that I feel like doesn't really get a lot of love these days. People want to lump this game into the New Super Mario Bros. Category, and I don't really understand. Super Mario 3D World. This is a game that when I first saw it, when I first played the 3DS version, Super Mario 3D Land, I was kind of blown away by it. Like, it's a 3D Mario game, but it plays like a 2D Mario game where you're supposed to get from beginning to end, and it's more based off like the obstacle course style level design, like, a 2D Mario game. And I've always really liked that concept a lot. And this game just adds so much more stuff, so many different enemy types and set pieces and power-ups and stuff like that. And the thing that I think is the biggest boon to this game is the best way to play Mario co-op. I've played other co-op Mario games before, like New Super Mario Bros. Wii and New Super Mario Bros. U and stuff like that. And I always thought that those games were really cumbersome to play because you're just bouncing off of each other's heads constantly. But with this game, just adding a third dimension plane where you can just walk alongside your other player, like, it's just so much better. I will say that this game is still pretty chaotic if you add 3 or 4 players, but if you're playing this game with 2 players, like, it's a great experience. And I've played this game multiple times with other people. I did it single player and with co-op, And like I still to this day, you know, offer to play this with other people if they've never played it before, because I feel like this is the best way to do multiplayer Mario. And honestly, I feel like this game just deserves to be alongside some of the best 3D Mario platformers in general. Whereas this one, ooh, I can already hear the backlash. This is my least favorite Mario game, in my opinion. I know there's a lot of people who really, really love this game, but man, I can't really get behind this one. I will say that it's not just an outright terrible, like, bad game. Like, this ain't no Superman 64. I'm like, that would be stupid to say. But, I don't know, man. This game doesn't really do anything for me. And I'll list off my reasons. From the terrible voice acting to the story that makes you as the player feel, you know, bad for Mario's situation, because he's blamed for something that he didn't do, and you the player are being punished for something you didn't do, and you're forced to like clean up goo or something like that. Already that kind of sets off some, like, it leaves a bad taste in your mouth right from the beginning. But then it's also the fact that like you're in one location pretty much for the entire game. Like, yeah, there's a couple standout locations like the hotel and the theme park and stuff like that, but for the most part, like, it just feels like you're on a tropical island the whole time, and it feels kind of monotonous in that sense. And this is coming after a game like Super Mario 64, where it's so open, you can do almost anything in any order that you want. You can skip entire worlds if you don't even really want to play them, if you're trying to go for just a normal 70-star run. And for this game, you know, you can't really do that. You have to do all the levels, all the main missions in every single level, even if you don't like them, you know, and if you want to go for other shines off to the side, it doesn't matter. Those don't unlock the final level. You have to go through every single level in every order, you know, the exact same order every single time, and it feels like it doesn't give you a lot of choice. It's very linear, and I never liked that about this game. And can we talk about that 100% completion bonus, or lack thereof? You get, for completing this game, all 120 shines, a postcard. Yeah, I never did that after I heard about that. And then there's the blue coin hunting. It's just, this game is very tedious, and I can't see this as a true successor to Super Mario 64. We did eventually get it with Super Mario Odyssey, and that game's amazing. But man, I've just never understood the appeal of this game. I just don't really like it that much, and I don't know why it gets so much praise as it does. I am harshly criticizing Super Mario Sunshine on the internet. Am I making a huge mistake, guys? Am I gonna go to internet jail? Guys? Hello? So how about we end this video off on a little bit more of a positive note to kind of distract everyone from letting the internet know that I hate Super Mario Sunshine. So one of my favorite gaming generations of all time is the 5th generation of games. And I'm kind of just using Final Fantasy IX as like a placeholder for all PlayStation games, I guess. And lately online, I've just been seeing a lot of people, you know, really, really harshly criticize the 5th generation of games. It's low frame rate, it's low poly, it's this, it's that. And you're not wrong at all. I think all that stuff is true, but, you know, I feel like people aren't really taking in context of, you know, things that are happening, things that were happening back then and things that are happening today. Like, obviously we don't have the same kind of technology as we did back in 1998. And I see people like trying to apply that to games from that era, and I don't really understand why. I don't really understand why there's this comparison of games from today and games back then. And if we really think about it, some of the best games of all time came out around that time. Resident Evil 2, Final Fantasy VII, The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, Metal Gear Solid. Like, so many of these great legendary titles came out during the 5th generation of games. And I don't know, I feel like with that many, you know, legendary titles being released around that time, you know, is the 5th generation of games really as bad as people are trying to make it out to be? I don't think so, honestly. Not by a long shot, in my opinion. I don't know exactly what I'm trying to ultimately convey. Like, people who say that these games are low frame rate, low poly are right, but I guess all I'm really trying to say is, like, you know, maybe have a little bit more context of what was available back during that time and understand, like, that's how games were. And, you know, comparing them to games that are released today is a little bit unfair and kind of dumb a little bit. Like, I'm not trying to say you're dumb, but it's just, I just think that it's kind of a bad argument to compare games from back then to today. I don't know. That's just my opinion. I don't know, man. I guess I'm just trying to say I love the 5th generation so much, and I think it deserves a little bit less crap than it's been getting lately. That's all. So there you have it, guys. Some unpopular gaming opinions from me. Hopefully I didn't piss you off too badly in this video. Again, if you have other contrasting opinions, let me know in the comments section. But anyway, as always, if you guys aren't subscribed to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the bell icon to be notified for future videos. And if you want to support the channel even more, maybe consider leaving a like. You could also follow me on Twitter at the 8BitMadNES. And most of all, I want to thank you guys so much for watching. I'll catch you next time.